your body.
Rock your body, come on, rock it.
Let me see your body rock, shaking it from the bottom to top. Break to what the DJ drop. We be the one to make it hot. Electric shock, energy like a billion watts. Space be booming, the speakers pop. Galactic home and Mr. Spot. We bumping in your parking lot.
When you coming up in the spot, don't bring nothing we call pink dot, 'cause we burning around the clock. Hit the light, the bomb. If you green, that don't make you stop. Like the jungle, we run the block. Know the block, know the block, know the block.
play pretend. Burn the city, fuck your friends and sing along. Sing along. So hang with DJ, play pretend. Burn the city, fuck your friends and sing along. Sing along. Hang with DJ, play pretend. Burn the city, fuck your friends and sing along. 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 National.
Hello, Apollo Army. Hope everyone is doing well today. My name is Matt Johnson, and I am joined here by Apollo Ted and Apollo Tanner now, who's joining our stream. Go ahead and come online, guys, whenever you can there. But appreciate you joining us.
Hi, guys.
You guys doing all right?
Appreciate you. Yes, sir. Hey, guys, I'm Zach. You might see me as Apollo Ted on Telegram and Discord. I run production for the Apollo Moonbase project.
Hey everybody, I'm Apollo Tanner. You'll see me on the Telegram and on socials as Web3TB. And I run all the marketing and the digital side and all the social media platforms for the Moonbase.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah, these guys are really instrumental in everything we're doing day to day. Tanner's a pretty new addition to the team, but he runs a pretty tight meeting every Wednesday that you probably heard us talk about on Twitter and Telegram, for planning all of what do we do with all this great content and media and promotion and analytics and everything we're going to be gathering from the Moonbase project. Runs that. And you know Zach from the beginning, he wrote the original smart contract for everything that we've done into all the back end services, all the new contracts for dealing with moving Apollo in and out of the DAO, and as well as the Moonbase. So these guys are really instrumental. And I want to take just a quick moment. I know a lot of people here have been a part of the project for a long time. I just want to rewind and give everyone a sense of like, how do we arrive at this thing called Project Moonbase and what exactly is it? Before we dive into the format for today, which is really answering internally what a lot of people have been asking us over the last couple of weeks externally is, what are you most excited about with the coming project? We're giving teasers here and there. We're sprinting hard to an alpha where we can get people in there and playing and winning crypto, before the end of this year, which is still on track. We're feeling really good about that. But we want to answer that internally as well. What do we love about what we're doing right now, what we're building right now, and give you a few more sneak peeks into that and where it's going. So let's rewind a little bit. Last year, as a lot of you know, we started the project with this passion in mind, creators. You heard a great segment from Apollo Knight, who is one of the inspirations for me in forming the Apollo project of how do we empower creators and give them funding to realize their dreams. We gave away close to $250,000 to creators last year, which we're super proud of. Amazing utility, delivered on it, kept every promise that we made last year, and built a great utility that you will see again. A lot of people think like, oh my gosh, you're completely pivoting to something new and foreign. That's not true. First of all, it's not new and foreign. We've been building games for large brands for over 30 years, combined as a team. But we also felt like, hey, we got to move with the ecosystem. We got to move with crypto and what's next and what's coming. And as a lot of people know, Web3 and gaming are natural fits, as well as music and creators. So we're doing this utility this year, and you will see a point where they merge back together because we want other content creators to be creating assets and games and things like that for the Apollo Moonbase. So it'll all make sense, in the coming months of how this all fits together. So we created that in 2021, big success for us. Moving into 2022, we're like, how do we leverage more of our experience and what we're good at? So gaming made sense. So we introduced this concept for not just a game. And a lot of people mistake that, hey, it's just all about us building some kind of game and does it measure up to something else? We're building a platform for casual games to be able to come onto our platform, host arenas, host unique games in there, and earn crypto alongside the holders, the gamers, partners, and the DAO. That's the large vision: is everybody wins with Apollo Moonbase. And with that, I'm just going to jump into really what I'm most excited about that I'm working on right now. So a lot of you saw us tease on Twitter a week or so ago this idea of a new boss. We've got him in the game now, and man, it makes it exponentially more fun. This guy is really tough. You get close to him, you hit him from afar with you see here with your little plasma weapon. He's not going to do much damage. You got to get close and hit him with a shotgun. Well, my guy just got destroyed there. But if you get within a certain range of him, he hits a whirlwind attack, and you're pretty much done for because he'll knock you back into other enemies. What you're seeing right now, and I've stressed this several times, these are our prototype graphics. We have a graphics team that are making the final assets of what it will look like on Moonbase, some other environments that will be different arenas that you'll fight in. We're just focusing on the core mechanics of like how do fights work, how do we introduce enemies, how do we level things up, what are the bonuses and benefits in these little containers that you see around the world. That's what we're focused on. So don't obsess about the graphics, number one, because it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be very polished. That's all we've ever done for big brands. But it's not also about the game. It's about winning, getting engagement, getting people to stick in the game, getting lots of new eyeballs on there, because there will be a free version that people will play and see where they would have placed on the leaderboard that incentivizes them to get the Apollo crypto and enter the ecosystem and engage for real crypto winnings, right? So boss fights, I love them. Zach and I brainstormed a couple of weeks ago. I mean, you're going to see a lot of funny memes and personalities from the crypto world in there. We got a sandwich which everyone will appreciate destroying, a sandwich bot kind of guy coming. FUD slugs. We got a lot of different things in terms of the environment and bosses and enemies. I pretty much made the guarantee, and I'll stand by it. For anyone to get through all 10 phases of what this first game mode is going to be will be extremely difficult. But go for it. I hope to see you there, but I doubt it. But that brings me kind of to my second most exciting thing that I'm working on right now, and it's the idea of like loot boxes. Everybody loves loot boxes. I play a lot of games that I grind on them just to get that one particular drop. This is a little bit different than all those games because you actually can make some good money with these drops. We'll have the standard chests in there, which you'll need during the game to go after and destroy to get, ammo and things to continue, playing. We always have a gun that will have basic ammo, but you might get like some fire bullets that will do fire damage to a certain type of enemy. You got to use a strategy though of like, hey, do I give up fighting off guys that are coming at me in waves and go after this chest, destroy it, and get what I need? So it's kind of a risk reward type scenario that we're trying to build in the game. Move up the chain, gold chests, you get power up shields, things that last a little bit longer. Heavy reward, harder to get. You might have to destroy a certain type of enemy. You might have to hit it a bunch of times with a certain weapon. You'll have to experiment and figure that out. I love this next one. The chance chests are, risk and reward. They'll have a really good benefit or bonus in there, or it could be a trap, and another enemy could spawn or a boss from it. So you have to decide where you at in the game and what do you need, and whether you destroy that and see what's on the inside of that. And then everybody's favorite, as you get further into the waves, we're going to have these epic chests. These are where you could, get a lot of the AMTs or Apollo Moon tokens, which is the virtual currency that we talked about. You can get those back by destroying these chests. You can get special NFTs that we use for monthly raffles, big prizes. You can get cosmetics and gear and stuff like that. Like these are going to be the most coveted thing that will be in the Moonbase, and everybody will have a chance in every game session to win a very proportionate amount of this. We're not stacking it in any certain way. It's going to be fair, but it's going to be skill based. Super excited about loot drops and chests. We're going to have a lot of stuff in those. And the final thing that I have on my list before I pass it on to Zach is the concept of arenas. Like we're already kind of set off on some partner pursuits. Can't say a whole lot right now, but guys, I've worked with great brands. You've seen it. We worked with Center in the first season. There is still a compelling interest, especially in the Web3 gaming side, to get promotion and advertising and sponsorship out there. That's really what feeds this business as a revenue generator. When you talk about ads or sponsorships or other projects or other influencers that might want to be a part of this ecosystem and claim that they have gaming utility. That's what the arenas are all about. So they're really the scalable thing that, in the coming months, we hope to have a dozen or so they could pick from. We can introduce some personal touches in these arenas that reflect the brand, and maybe even put a character in there that's like a bonus or a power up that they can fight alongside you that represents that influencer or represents that brand. So a lot of different directions we can go to it, but that's really what Zach has been hyper focused on, is how do we build this thing so it scales and it lasts for a long time. So with that, I'm really going to turn it over to him. He's give us a few things that he's been working on and is excited about, and then Tanner will wrap us up when we're done.
Thank you so much, Matt. I'll go ahead and take over here. So I wanted to start off with a little bit of background. I don't know that we've ever really talked about what exactly we're trying to do with an alpha. I think betas maybe started to get bigger, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And then it kind of created a creep on the idea of what a beta is. There are games like PUBG people may have heard of. It stayed in beta for 5 years or something like that. So I kind of want to talk about why we're doing a beta, why we're doing an alpha, what an alpha is. Everything we do is to benefit the Apollo community. But if we're going to benefit the Apollo community, we need to gain feedback along the way to build the Moonbase platform out. So for the alpha, what are we as developers looking to get out of it to build a great platform? Number one, we just want to get basic feedback on gameplay loops and mechanics. Are people enjoying the basic idea of the game? If the basic idea of the game is I'm bouncing around arenas and I'm shooting things, are people enjoying those basic aspects? Number two, stress testing game performance. As QA would say, we could have 10 different devices on different browsers and different browser versions and all these things, and we can get the game running at 30 FPS on everything in our office. But whenever we engage the masses, there's no telling what we're going to get. We're going to get all sorts of internet bandwidths. We're going to say, our backend services are sitting on a data center in East US, and so people in East Asia are struggling to connect. We have VPNs and everything set up, but we just don't know until we engage a lot more people. So that's probably the number two thing. Number three, proof of concept for new technology. This is a little bit different than number two. Number two is in a general sense, any sort of game development or anything like that. Number three would be, I don't know, something like no one has ever engaged with motion tracking for the new Oculus game or something like that. And so not only are we stress testing against all these different environments, but us as developers, there's no real way to see how technology will be used in public. And so we'd like to see how, we call it the grandma test. Like, is the grandma able to grasp this new technology that she's never heard of? And the last one is identify core community members. And I think a lot of this gets missed by developers is through this alpha process. We have guys, shout out to the people here, everybody in the chat, who are engaged. But maybe when we start showing off development stuff, maybe more gaming centered people come in and they want to be a part of this because they have some expertise they want to share and can help us along the way as we expand out who we're testing with. It'll start out with a private group, more public, more public, more public. So who's going to be part of those smaller groups that we can tease out, not just this initial launch, but maybe there's a V2 in 2 years, and we want to start with that small group. So those are all things we're trying to figure out with the alpha.
Yeah, Zach, let me just point on a couple of things that you said there that are really important. I know sometimes this stuff doesn't seem like the sexiest thing in the world, and like, hey, this is very technical and very kind of low level. But here's what I'll stress is so important. Like, how many other projects that are in gaming or in the meme token space or whatever are talking at this level of depth and experience? Like, I've seen a lot of projects that have been like, oh yeah, they'll show a few graphics, probably AI generated. This is what it's going to be like. They don't have a process. They're just trying to hype it. And guys, it might seem like a longer process and might seem like stuff that slows us down, doesn't get out there. Trust me, you want the game to be right before it goes out. And any major development firm will tell you this, like you get a shot at it, right? So we're going to take the time. We're going to do it right. It's going to be fun and polished. And a lot of what Zach does every day is to make sure that this thing stands up when it gets out there. And it's super important. And if any other project or any other development team is telling it, nah, you don't really need that, run away.
For sure. Thanks, Matt. So I'm talking a little bit about what we want to get out of this alpha. What do we want you to get out of this alpha? There's a few things when we try to set up a project plan to get us to alpha. We look at pillars and we create epics and all these other things, but it really just comes down to what questions do we want answered for you guys. Number one, how does the platform empower ownership? I'll talk a little bit more in detail about this one here in a little bit, but this is probably the forging into new space that the team will be doing. Number two, how does the platform entice potential partners? How are we engaging with other crypto communities, other gaming communities, or other things like that? What about this game would entice them to join us? Number three, this is the number one thing. It will always be the number one thing with the game. Is it fun? For the Moonbase game, there's a lot of there's a meme I've come across, and it's kind of the idea of the low IQ thought with the game is just make fun games. And then there's the middle ground where you start trying to outsmart yourself. Well, it needs a certain kind of economy. It needs to be on certain platforms, blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of shift into the more high IQ take. It's just back to make fun games. So at the end of the day, we want to be making fun games. So to kind of prove out, the things that we know that we can do, those second and third options, there's plenty of examples that we've listed in other presentations for things that we've built. And that's, I have a couple communities here, FGTV and the Abby family. We've proven that we can make fun games. We feel pretty comfortable with ourselves there. And we've also proven that we can engage with new communities. This is everything from jumping on streams with communities. This is, hey, a community leader comes to us and says, we've been partnering with you guys on this new arena or something like that. We'd really like if you would help come into our community and find a few guys to help you test. So we have, created private Discord groups for this streamer that wants us to help test out a game. And so we really get to know like the lead community members of other communities. So these are things that we feel like pretty comfortable that we can do. The big one is, I know Matt mentioned that there's a natural fit between gaming and crypto. On the engineering side, I would argue it's more like a opposites attract. Games are fast. They're really, really fast. They need to be really efficient. They're usually written in lower level languages that will allow for more control over memory and things like that. Crypto is not so fast. The ETH blockchain does a lot of things super well. Security, it does a lot of things well. Speed is not it. So then we have to merge this new space, slow gaming, which has to be so fast and so efficient. So then we're working through a few use cases that we need to prove out for alpha. made a blog about this one, but I can kind of walk you through it. So what is the problem? The problem is we need users to authenticate with their wallet to either sign in or create a new account. So we go to the biggest wallet providers. We have MetaMask, Trust Wallet, Coinbase Wallet, all those other wallets. MetaMask did something awesome. They created a Unity plugin, and so users will be able to come into the Moonbase project, and let's say they're logging into on a new device, and they say, you know what, I want to sign in with this device. This cool SDK will pop up the MetaMask app on their phone and say, hey, Apollo Moonbase wants to verify that you're connecting with your wallet. You hit yes. So then on the Moonbase side, we get back this authenticated message that we can take to our backend services, PlayFab, that I've talked about in the blog, and then that allows you to log into your account. That's great. Not a lot of wallets are giving us plugins for gaming, but that's fine because this is something we've kind of done a little bit for with the contest page. So what it can look like going forward is on the right side, you'll see that, okay, I have this new wallet. It's called Zach Wallet, and they don't have any special Unity plugins or anything like that, but I want to use it. So what can I do? Well, you can come same way to the Apollo Moonbase portal where you can play the game. But now on the portal side, so outside of the game, you can follow the same steps you did with the contest page. On the contest page, we supported every major wallet. So now I could come in and connect any wallet I want, anything that's under the Trust Wallet umbrella for sure. And through some fancy technology, we can pass in your authenticated message, zero gas, that you sign, bring it into the game, verify that you are the wallet and you are who you say you are, and then again, pass your info off to PlayFab. So there we're kind of incorporating something slow with bringing it over to the PlayFab side, and I can talk a little bit more about it here.
So Zach, just real quick, I want to add, like that's a huge part of this effort is to take our user experience design history and figure out how do we reduce as much friction as we can for people to get into the game and to use it while it's still uber secure. And that's the trade-off. Like, which blockchain do you use? Do you do a virtualized system? Like you mentioned, when we did our first utility for the voting, we created this really cool way that you could cast votes without having to pay gas every time. And if anyone's trading actively right now, you understand gas can be very erratic and very high. But the way that we're doing this here is you can get your tokens into the Moonbase ecosystem and use them and spend them and earn them and everything like that without spending gas until you want to move back out, right? So that's going to be very important when you talk about finding the balance between where do you use blockchain and where do you use speed.
Yes. So here's another example I can walk us through. So one of the big struggles we have is we can't be recording transactions and waiting for them to be confirmed on the blockchain a minute at a time. We need to be moving tokens. I win a game. I open a chest. Boom, you need to be rewarded your AMTs. Okay, so how do we do that? So what we're going to have is the virtual currency that will be tied directly to the Apollo token. So here we go. I have my wallet, and you know what? I'm ready to jump in. I want to cash in some of my Apollo and get some AMTs so I can play the game. All you have to do, and this is all stuff we've all proven out, is I could go to my wallet. It could be a mobile app. It could be a desktop app. It could be in the game itself. We can help carry you along this. So I go in, and all I have to do is send my Apollo to the DAO. Pretty simple, a couple button clicks, and then I go into the game. And so I'm in the game, and I say, you know what? I have deposited some Apollo into the DAO. I want my AMTs. And so what we actually do is pass that information off to a backend cloud script, and we can actually scan the entire blockchain and see any recent sends of Apollo that you've done from this wallet that you've connected to PlayFab to the DAO. And then we can go and check, okay, have they completed the deposit? Have they gotten the AMTs for these transactions before? If they haven't, okay, we'll total that up. Here's 1,000 AMTs. And so this is just one of the many ways that we're trying to prove out of we've made fun games, we've partnered with communities, but can we bring Web3 into the fold? And I think so far, we've done a fantastic job of that. It's all not going to be completed. Not every use case is going to be done by alpha to show you that we can do it. We know that we can do it, at least for this one lane, and then we'll branch off and cover all of our other use cases. And I believe now I'll be passing it off to Tanner.
Thank you, Zach. So, like Matt introduced earlier, I kind of run the meeting on Wednesdays. We kind of go through marketing, go through content, and then, like I said, go to work on the different content. So, first thing I'll kind of talk about here from the marketing standpoint is growing the Apollo community. Like I said, and Matt's mentioned before, Telegram has been our main source for growing this community. The people that are here on the live as well, super important, kind of engaging. You guys have been awesome. The energy has been substantially better, substantially growing every day. The engagement's growing. I can see on Twitter, on different social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube here. Everybody's really getting involved. Everybody's starting to kind of come forward and really engage and really help us grow. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we can produce the best content that we possibly can, but it's ultimately up to the engagement, up to the community that kind of helps drive it to new people to not only grow the community, but also make the inner community stronger. So yeah, like I said, the goal here with the community is to continue to increase engagement, create more energy in the community, as well as size-wise grow the community as well. And now we're going to go to upcoming content. Like I've said in the past, we've had tons of content that we've made. We're weeks ahead. Every update that Matt and Zach are doing on the development side, we're working on Wednesdays in production to make sure that we're kind of displaying that content to you guys the best that we can, to not only be able to understand it, but give you guys some good visuals and some good announcements of what's to come. I made a short little clip here I'm going to throw on, just shouting out and highlighting some of the content that the whole team has really made. I mean, it's not just one person. It's not just the content team. Everybody kind of goes all hands on deck with the content. So I just wanted to make a little clip here just to highlight all the content that we've made and show the hard work that they've kind of put in. Here. This is the main one here. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, like I said, some great content has been made by the entire team, whether that's getting Matt in front of the camera and talking, whether that's screen recording some in-game play, whether that's recording some video, just a time lapse in the office. We talked about it at the beginning of our marketing strategies, is that we had some big pillars that we wanted to make sure that we hit. As you can kind of see, some of our content is a little bit more in-game, kind of action updates and what's kind of coming in the Moonbase. But we also feel that's super important as well to show the culture of not only our community, but our team as well. That's where we're implementing the time-lapse videos, showing both Matt and Zach in the office kind of working. Matt gets on there as well and talks. about updates, about what's to come, about what's already happened. But yeah, and then also, as you've may have seen on the socials as well, we're also have a segment that we introduced as well that's called that we've called just education. We're just educating kind of where the Apollo Moonbase is at, and kind of trying to translate. Sometimes the devs can get a little bit wordy and a little bit in depth on things, but just trying to translate so that we're being able to understand kind of where we're at and what's kind of going on. And then lastly, our last kind of segment that we've been creating content for is benefits. As you guys have seen, we've done a benefit of a gamer. We have some other benefit ones that are going to be coming out soon, just to, like I said, keep everybody as transparent and informed as possible. I think that's what's going to keep kind of growing our community and keep making that community stronger and being able to just understand what this project is about. We're not here to hide anything. We're not putting out content that isn't true. We're not hiding anything. You know, we're trying to make everything as transparent as possible so that you guys not only know what's happening, but can also understand it as well. And then to the last thing, which is probably the most exciting thing for you community members, is going to upcoming giveaways. This is one that's kind of been in the works for the last week or so. We've been really trying to nail down, as you in the Telegram might have seen. We did a little poll about what community benefit we want to see from the giveaways. So we're slowly kind of putting that together and how we can effectively implement not only giveaways to benefit the winner of our giveaways, whether that's engagement, whether that's a random giveaway, whether that's for tuning into an AMA, whether that's tuning into a Twitter space, whether that is who's the most engaged for the week, whatever the case may be, whatever the requirement is to enter the giveaway, we want to make sure that not only are we benefiting that person, but we're benefiting the community. So we're, like I said, we're slowly implementing and kind of planning out how we would be able to benefit the whole community so that it's not just one person benefiting. Again, we want to try to benefit as much people as possible in the Apollo Moonbase. And as Matt kind of mentioned before, everything we're pouring into is for this Moonbase. So we're more than happy, super excited to kind of pour into the community as well, while also having a lucky winner kind of every so often. Like I said, it's being scheduled right now when these giveaways are going to be. So stay tuned on the social platforms. There'll be tons of announcements there. But yeah, like I said, stay engaged, stay on the socials. That's kind of where a lot of the information is going to be. And like I said, if anybody on here isn't in the Telegram, they can message after the Telegram as well. And we can put a link in there to kind of join the Telegram so you can have a little bit more up-to-date news as well. But other than that, I think that's kind of it on the marketing side. Like I said, I appreciate the community. Without your guys' engagement, without you guys pushing our content and pushing the announcements, all that kind of stuff, we really wouldn't be where we're at right now. So appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanner. Appreciate the update there. And I just want to stress, like, having these guys, all three of us here on this, the whole point is to show you that we're building a business here. We're not just some kind of like quick turn thing. We've been in the game for over a year now. Like, that's what we're looking to do here is build something long term. And I know the guys that are in here now have been with us for that. And it takes time. Like, to build something right, it takes time. But we got the right people on the team. I feel really good about it. I get up excited every day for what I'm building. And I think in life, that's just the most important thing, is when you get up every day and think, you know, I love what I do. I love the people I do it around, and I want to help people and, you know, show them benefit, you know, from a lot of different stakeholders, a lot of different groups. That means a whole lot to me. So I appreciate from the bottom of my heart everyone that's been here, everyone that continues to support us and hold. And as we move towards, you know, an improved economy at the end of the year, like, that didn't slow us down. You know, we've been building the whole time. But, you know, I want to see us all reap the rewards of that. And we're working our butts off to do it. So with that, thanks, guys. I want to open it up if there's any questions that you guys have, you know, for Zach, Tanner, or myself. Happy to try and answer them on this stream. So please let us know in the chat.
I think Corey had a question. I think we already answered it. Oh, yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes on Wednesdays, if they give me way too much sugar or I've had more than 3 coffees, some weird stuff happens. So I think that's a little bit of what we're seeing there. But like I said earlier, there's some stuff in terms of like partnerships and things that we've really been ideating. And when I see progress on those, those are the things that we can't really talk about. We could spill out every grueling detail about how we develop something, but partnerships get me stoked. So take that for what it's worth.
So Corey asked this, and we didn't answer it in the comments, but I just threw out that term AMT, and I guess I should have clarified. Those will be the virtual tokens. So it'll be in game. We don't want you bouncing Apollo all over the blockchain when you're trying to play a game or trying to buy some attachment for a gun or something like that. So you'll deposit the Apollo. I believe we have several diagrams of this. You'll deposit the Apollo, and then in game you'll see those AMTs in game, and those will be because they're off the blockchain. You can move those around really fast, and so we won't be hindered by the ETH blockchain.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. Like, I think someone or you mentioned Unity as well. It's just to make everyone clear on what that is. So that's a gaming development environment that I've been part of for a long time. The teams that have worked for me at multiple businesses. So it's the leading game engine besides Unreal on the planet. So, we don't write stuff from scratch if we don't have to. Like a lot of what we're doing here now, we decided to, make a unique game that's really core to Web3. But Unity helps accelerate a lot of that stuff and helps us go out to other platforms. I know a lot of people have been asking, okay, you go to Alpha, you're doing a browser-based or downloadable application. Mobile is king, right? We got to be on mobile. So this environment allows us to kind of develop once and deploy to many different platforms. So when we talk about Unity, that's that development environment that Zach and I spend a lot of time every day working in. Oh, and one other point about AMT, sorry. It's important to know because there's been a lot in the press out just, the idea of like, okay, I'm sending my sending my Apollo somewhere. I want to make sure like when I'm ready to take it out that I could take it out. So everything that's sent to the DAO, the AMTs will be synced, not necessarily one-to-one. We're still working on the economics of like how we issue it. It might be like you get 10 AMTs for every one you send in. We're still working out the details of that. But it will be completely stored and visible within the DAO that's secured in terms of the money you put in. And then you spend the AMTs and, hopefully you end up with a lot more than you started with. And then you can go out the opposite way and those are allocated. And then the person who doesn't have as many AMTs are providing those to you to exit. But there's no like friction or barrier to moving in and out. There'll be some on playing games and arenas and some other ways. So we can make sure we, have a solid supply at all times, where there'll be a little bit of, tax here and there to be able to sustain the ecosystem and protect it. But this isn't something where we're looking to make a cash grab. The benefit here is we want people buying Apollo, and that 1% tax that was going to the artist DAO last year now is going to feed some of these pools and bonuses and rewards that are happening in the Apollo Moonbase ecosystem.
Yeah, so one of the things with the AMTs too, Matt, is like I kind of mentioned, the melding of Web3 and gaming can get a little funky on the engineering side. So one of the amazing things about ETH is it's actually pretty efficient at moving massive digits. So when you're sending Apollo somewhere on the blockchain, you're say you were sending a billion. Really, you're kind of sending like a quintillion of something. Gaming, which requires speed, doesn't love quintillions when you're moving it around. So any sort of whenever we figure out the conversion factor, whether it's 1 to 10, 1 to 100, something like that, that part of that is accounting for ETH can move massive digits. Games really can't and don't do well doing that.
So in short, trust us, we're smart. We're building lots of great tools that will protect you. It's a really good question here. So where do we see the Moonbase long term? What does it look like in an ideal world? So yeah, we touched on parts of this in our Basecamp roadmap at the beginning of the year. But that's a great question because, like I mentioned, it's really a platform, and I want to see the benefit to all of our stakeholders be, the idea that we have 100 different games on here, a variety of different developers that just plug in through what's called a software development kit. So, once we prove out the model with a few games that come from us or the first party, they say, oh, this is cool. I can set this up and make money. I've already developed a game. You just port it to here. Like just building this content thing, that creates stickiness and it creates community. As we all know, like that's kind of the holy grail in any kind of digital marketplace or anything that we've dealt in here is you get a strong community, you get people coming in, you get eyeballs, like the opportunities for engagement and monetization are endless. So in an ideal world, I see, dozens of different projects that are wanting to claim utility in crypto and saying, I have a game. Well, yeah, you have a game. It's fueled by the Apollo Moonbase, and people have to go then through the front door of Apollo, which is great for us and visibility, and benefit to buying token. But it gives them something in return where they can get a portion of all the engagement that happens in the ecosystem. If that's happening across hundreds of different projects, and those projects are paying us a part of their arena stakes and things like that, you can see very quickly how that goes. We have more and more in our DAO for the community to decide: do we want to enhance marketing? Do we want to go out there and build some new utility? Do we want to list on this big exchange? There's a lot of different, opportunities when you have a real platform built out that has, different people participating. So we're not thinking about in this, little tunnel of like, oh, we're going to make great game. It's going to be a hit and everybody's going to do great. Well, that's just delusional to a large degree. But you build a platform that people can engage on and, get ahead of Web3 and where we see it going. Like first is really big and really important. And, I think having this arcade concept and some of the partners and backgrounds that we have, that could, ramp up here really quickly. All right. Did you said there was another one, Zach, that I'm not seeing here?
Yeah, you kind of answered it a little bit, but he was just kind of wondering on maybe some specifics, as close as we could give specifics at this point of what partnerships would look like and then jumping into the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's a question. I teased this the other day. I think that part of this value could be, consulting on our part to help another project build a game for ETH, and then, some kind of way that goes back into the Apollo ecosystem to benefit everyone. I'm completely open to that. Right now, devs are pretty, as you can imagine, we got a lot on our plate and a lot going on in building the core system. But I think there will come a day where it's like, okay, this is taking off. We could hire more team. We have a content production team. We have, the engineering and utility team. Marketing is going at full steam. And I'm just out there onboarding partnerships and projects. Like that's kind of my ultimate vision or goal for all this. But I see probably half a dozen ways to generate revenue for this. And at the end of the day, that makes something self-sustainable, and that's key. It can't be just a one-way ecosystem where we just have to keep pumping. At the beginning, that's fine. I call this a pre-revenue company right now. It's like I'm funding most of the development or all of the development that's going on here, but at some point, the business has to sustain itself. Like people have to put something in and people get something out. Like that's just basic economics. And I think the arenas and the advertising and the sponsorships and potentially doing work for other projects to get them onboarded into the ecosystem, all that stuff contributes to the idea of like, wow, it's going to turn some heads because people are going to understand that we're building something more than just a fly-by-night crypto project.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. When you think about partnerships, I think we've talked about think of it as a platform like Minecraft or Fortnite and something like that. So, in a broad sense, it could be something like, hey, we want to donate to the DAO and we want our own creative, just layer the creative over the arena. So it could be the Zach Coin arena. Or down the road, it could be something where we've built out the platform and it's so robust that maybe it's just they want to develop on our platform. So then they would be able to do the development and post their own content on the platform.
Yeah, exactly. And the vision is not small here. Don't be mistaken by the idea of doing a casual, simple game to start with. The power is the platform. And I can't stress that enough. The idea is like all these things that we're talking about to when they are all working together, it becomes a behemoth. Awesome. Do you want to pick one more? We probably need to wrap, but it looks like we're getting close to the hour here, but we'll take one more if you see one. All right. We'll call it that then, guys. Like, this has been a great AMA. Appreciate everyone coming up. Zach, I think you need to give a wave, it looks like, to make sure. Yeah. Okay. He says hi, everyone.
Daddy says hi. Hey, kids, we're about to go eat dinner.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, and Tanner, what, you want to finish us off to tell us anything that you learned last night in a very pivotal poker game that you played in? How did it go for you?
Well, got nicknamed the ATM last night. So
that's right. Yeah. Okay.
That was
Yeah,
tough. I actually almost put that as my name today, but
okay. For all you don't know is Tanner has some really close connections, some pretty professional poker players, but he dipped his toe in for one of the first times last night into our little game. And, he's got a ways to go, but I do appreciate the ATM funding my night. So I just want to shout out to you. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Any way I can help. Any way I can help.
All right. I'll go buy some Apollo with it right now. How about that?
Perfect.
All right, guys. Appreciate you all. Again, we'll be in touch on the Telegram. Join if you haven't. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out on Twitter. All the platforms should be listed below. Appreciate everyone's time and look forward to giving you updates on the Moonbase really soon. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
Thank you all.
Appreciate y'all.